Welcome to 3 Secrets to Client Creation. Thanks so much for joining me. I'd love it if you could type yes in the comments that you can hear me. Welcome, Christine, Grace, Kathleen, Sati, and Kueli. I apologize if I'm saying any of your names incorrectly, but I have a lot that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to jump in and share my screen with you. Well, welcome. You're in the right place if you're here for the 3 Secrets to Client Creation. And this is for you if you're a coach, consultant, or service-based provider. So this class is for you if you identify as a coach, as a consultant, a holistic practitioner, an advisor, a therapist. Maybe you're a professional who is in transition and you have so much work experience that you feel like you want to monetize your expertise. Basically, anyone who makes a living by acquiring clients. So if you stay till the end, I have something really awesome for you. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Client Creation. And in it, I cover the 4 pillars to manifesting clients. So when you hang through to the end, I'm going to send you this amazing guide to reference when you're like, what do I do? What should I be doing? Tomorrow's Monday. What should I be doing to be marketing or getting the word out there about what I do? So if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Khadija Yansani. I have coached and consulted with dozens of Fortune 500 companies like Visa, Charles Schwab, Clorox, and Robert Half, and more. And I love sharing this story because my background really isn't in corporate America, but I had a stint in corporate America as a communications coach. And one of the things that I would do is that we would videotape managers and leaders and support them with their communication skills. And one of the things that I was really surprised by is we would be in a room together, we'd be looking at their video, and the first thing I would ask them would be, what'd you like? And 9 times out of 10, if I was talking to a woman, she pointed out all the things she didn't like. She was judging her appearance. She was judging what other people thought of her. And that was just kind of always in the background. And I feel like it's important to say because you might be looking at people on social media, people that you admire who are coaches or leaders in your industry, and it might occur to you as they have it all together. And to a certain degree, maybe they do. They're really able to manage how they show up in the world. But one of the things I was, moved by was that these women have, gone to the top of the ladder in their careers, yet there was still this like self-doubt that I see all across the board in working with coaching clients. So I love to share that, and that I had to go back and ask, okay, I asked, what did you like? Is there anything that you liked? And so just be really mindful, like see yourself inside of this. When someone tries to give you a compliment or say something positive about your business, do you focus on all the reasons why you can't do it or why you're not good enough? Or do you put more attention on the audience that you want to serve and who you're meant to help? It's a huge shift. So say yes or type a 1 in the comments if you can identify with anything that I'm saying here. I've also worked with top 7-figure leaders in the coaching industry like Nicole, DeAdo, and Mama Gina. And if you don't know who they are, Nicole DeAdo wrote a book called Slow Sex, and she had a coaching company and she sold coaching programs. And I went through that coaching program and I also sold for that company. And I learned a lot. You might be thinking, well, what is slow sex? Or she had this framework, this process called orgasmic meditation. And one of the things that was so powerful that I learned about sales was how important it is to deeply listen. And oftentimes when we're talking about sales, we're not thinking about listening. And we'll be talking about more of that today, but usually people think of a salesperson that's trying to force you to do something that you don't want to do. And what I learned working with her is that a good salesperson is a good listener, and they actually care about serving the person that's in front of them. I also worked with Mama Gina, who's the founder of Mama Gina School of Womanly Arts in New York. Let me know if any of you are familiar with her. And I worked with her in my 20s. And one of the things I learned about sales with her was how important it is to have fun. And so she has the womanly arts, and one of the womanly arts is the art of flirtation. And so one of the things that I did for her was to call people to enroll them in her courses. And so one day she gave me a list of people to call on the phone. I know we all use cell phones then. I can't even remember if I had a cell phone then. Maybe I did. Maybe it was like a flip phone or something. But I called, with a landline, had a sheet of paper, and I went down the list and I would call people, and she told me to flirt with them. And she's like, you'll be fine, you'll be great. And I was so nervous. And her whole definition of flirting is enjoying yourself in the company of others. And people rarely think about that when they're sharing their services, when they're selling, that it's you. Half the time, people want to be around you and they're picking up on your enthusiasm and your energy. And usually what happens is I'll talk to someone, they're really excited about what they're offering, but then once they have to share it, they feel completely disconnected from that fire, from that excitement, and all of that gets communicated in their communication. I've also helped hundreds of my clients do things like get their first $10,000 month, which is incredibly exciting. I love getting text messages or emails or Facebook messengers when clients share with me their success. I've helped clients get their first client, which is also incredibly exciting because sometimes people are doubting if it can even happen. So I've helped them get their first client. I've helped them get their next clients. I have helped them create and develop their profitable niche. A lot of times people come to me and they're really multi-passionate and they don't know how to bring all of their expertise under one umbrella. So helping them find out where their passion meets the marketplace and like what their audience needs, because there's definitely a dance between those two. I've helped my clients lead their first workshops, start and build their own communities, whether it's online or offline, charge more for their services. Maybe you're already working as a coach and you're getting clients, but maybe you feel stuck at the price that you're at and you're feeling like you want to charge more. I know sometimes people feel like if I charge more, will people leave? If I charge more, will they buy at this point? So that's definitely something I help my clients with. I've helped my clients package their offerings for higher profits because maybe you want to give yourself a raise. Maybe, the beauty about working for yourself as a coach or a guide is that you can give yourself a raise at any time. You can decide that this isn't working for you anymore and you'd like to bring in more money, or you want to create more money for a specific goal. I've also helped my clients position themselves as experts in their field. And this is something that a lot of my clients share is difficult for them, just owning and acknowledging that they're an expert. I think that oftentimes when things come really easily and naturally to you, it can be hard to own that you're an expert and that people will pay for something that is easy and natural for you. So type 1 in the comments or hit yes if you can relate to that. I've also led hundreds of workshops. I'm a workshop junkie. I love participating. I love leading them. I just led a 3-day retreat at the start of the month. So I've led hundreds of workshops, events, programs, both online and offline in the personal growth and business development area. My website's bloomintoyou.com. If you've never visited it, that is my site. And I'm the founder of the signature program, the Client Creation Queen program, which I'll be talking to you more about later. You may have participated in my online interview series called Ignite Your Money Muse, and money's a big one, right? Raise your hand if money's a big one for you. And I feel like it was really important for people to explore their relationship to money and what that has to do with getting clients and charging for the work that you do. So that particular interview series generated over $11,000 in sales and brought in over 1,000 subscribers, which was really exciting. I did another one this year called the Manifest Clients Now series. That's not on here, but I've interviewed probably close to 50 6- and 7-figure leaders in the transformational industry. And it's incredible to witness a journey that people are on, because I often say that your coaching practice, your business is a spiritual journey, because so much of your stuff comes up when you have to be visible, when you have to push post or publish. And you have the opportunity to really heal the parts of yourselves that you are uncertain of. And so type 1, if you can relate to any of that. I'm also a mom. My kids, well, my daughter's 6 now and my son's 4 now. So people often tell me that they don't have the time for this and that. And I totally get what it is to feel extended. So maybe you're someone who already has a full-time job. Maybe you're a mom. Maybe you are you have active dating life, or you're active in your church. And so I know what it is to be a family woman, and to be thinking about, like, what am I going to make for dinner? And how am I going to keep my kids entertained during this pandemic when, play dates are hard to come by? So I understand what it is to be juggling multiple responsibilities at the same time and feeling like you don't have enough time. And it's absolutely possible to create time for the things that are really important to you. So for me, my business is non-negotiable. And if all I have is 15 minutes, sometimes like I can't even get through an hour training, but like if I could do it in 15-minute increments, I will do that. So sometimes people feel like they need to have 4 hours or 10 hours, like this ideal block of time in order to get their business off the ground. And it's absolutely not true. I know there are some familiar faces on here, but like I led women's groups when I was still nursing, my daughter, and I had her with me, and I did my online trainings, and oftentimes my daughter and my son were in those programs with me. So I feel like I've done a lot of things right. And I just want to say there are a lot of more people popping on. Since I'm sharing my screen, I can't see the comments right now, but I promise to come back and check the chat. So feel free to type your questions and I'll make sure to come back to them. So I've done a lot of things right. And I've also done a lot of things wrong. And I'm using the word wrong lightly because I feel like, in a way that you can't get it wrong, because we always learn. And there are things that you could avoid if you knew. So I want to share some of those things that I did in ignorance and not knowing, and sometimes it was in fear, and hopefully that will support you. And as I'm going through this list, take a look at yourself, take a look at your own life and business, and we'll have an opportunity to do some reflection. So some mistakes I made was that I hosted women's groups for years. And I was terrified to make offers or invitations for people to work with me. And I did that for a while. And so I've also seen that with clients where, they put all this energy into creating an event. And I'm like, how'd your offer go? And they're like, I didn't make it. So, it just makes me think of dating. It's like you were there, or, you wanted to ask them out, and then fear got a hold of you and you didn't. Raise your hand if you can relate. Well, you can't raise your hand. I guess type 1 or hit yes. So another thing that I did was I didn't have a package for people to buy. And actually, I've had times where you probably have had this. I've seen this with clients too, where people are drawn to you, they're attracted to you, they're interested. They don't know exactly what you do, but they want more of it, whatever it is, and you don't have anything for them to buy. So for a long time, I didn't have anything for people to buy, even if they expressed interest in working with me more deeply. I spent a lot of time on non-income producing activities, which at the time, it didn't feel like it was, I didn't know that it was necessarily a non-income producing activity, but I just felt like I was working on my business. So for the longest time, it felt like it was the website that was holding me back. I was like, oh, I have to have business cards. And, at that time, I do feel like the world has changed in a sense that, yes, people use business cards and like physical promotional material, but not in the same way that they used to, because we have social media and you can just add someone as a friend. But I was just doing a lot of waiting on, once I get this, then I'll do this. And I see this all the time. And I feel like people can understand it mentally, like they get it when I say it, but I literally see people still waiting on something that they think is going to be the biggest difference in their business. And then they get it and they still don't know how to get clients. And I'm not saying you don't need a business card. You don't need a business card to get clients, that's for sure. And you definitely don't need a website to get clients as well. And so I just didn't know. So I was kind of just waiting and hoping that people would want to work with me. I spent a lot of time waiting for someone to tell me I was good enough. Like I would run things past friends or people in my life. And part of it was I was unsure. So I wanted them to come back and tell me, like, that's an amazing idea. You should totally go for that. And then if they didn't, then I would feel doubtful or insecure about my idea. And so this occurs in a very innocent way when you're just like, oh, what do you think? And that does not mean that you shouldn't get other people's opinions. But oftentimes, if you're not strong or confident in yourself, like any little thing that someone says can prevent you from taking action because you might go into self-doubt. So again, waiting until I felt confident enough. I was looking around, especially in the online world, and everyone seemed so comfortable being visible. They had pictures of themselves. They were showing up doing this, showing up doing that. And because I felt afraid to do that, I thought, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe you need a certain type of personality to have a successful coaching business. The main point here is that I was waiting until I felt like, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm going to wait until like this indefinite time when I feel ready, then I'm going to take the step. And so waiting until I didn't have my fears and doubts, and waiting to feel completely confident that I could help people produce the results. When in fact, if you're a coach and you're on here, like the first rule of coaching is not that you have the answer. What you have are the questions, and your client is innately whole, resourceful, and complete, and it's coming together to find a solution. So if there's a part of you that feels like my life has to be perfect and I have to know all the answers, that's not even what coaching is, right? So the bottom line is waiting for this, waiting for that, waiting for this other thing, waiting for the right time, waiting to have enough time, right? Like once I have 10 hours of time or 4 hours of time, then I'm going to be ready. Waiting to be this, ideal version of myself, then I'm going to be ready to take the actions in my business. So type 1, if any of those landed with you. So I'd love to share some of the things I've learned in the past 12 years. I think it's been 12 years since 2007. Maybe it's 13 now. So one is that paying clients are way closer than you think, which is amazing news, because oftentimes like the world of social media can feel like this big anonymous hole. You don't know who the people are, and you feel like these random people are going to find you, which can happen. But sometimes people are ignoring just what's in their own backyard. Another thing I've learned is that you don't have to have a large email list and following to get paying clients. It's very seductive or, seducing when you see like, oh my God, how does this person have 10,000 people following them? And I literally have had clients who have a larger audience than me and they're not getting clients. And so it's not so much, and yes, we want to work on growing our audience and being in front of more people, but it's also quantity and people wanting what it is that you have to share. You also don't need to obsess about having everything dialed in with marketing. Some of you might be looking at me and say like, okay, yeah, Khadija, you're saying that, but look at this professional picture over here. Look at this webinar slide. When I tell people like, you don't need to have slides, but for the longest time, I did not have slides. I've only been doing slides for maybe the last 18 months. Prior to that, I was just using my voice and a piece of paper with my notes on it, right? So you don't have to feel like you have to have all this stuff. Sometimes your mind will make you believe that you feel like you need that stuff in order to get clients, when in fact, coaching is a relationship. Coaching is a relationship between you, beautiful you, and your client. So I can't tell you the amount of clients that I've had that have never looked at my website, don't follow me on social media, but we met and they said like, I knew it was you were the right person. And so don't forget that coaching is a relationship, and all of those other things are just tools to help you, reach a wider audience. But you are the main tool, okay? If you don't leave with anything from this class today, like, you are the main tool, and you already have you, so you don't need anything else. All right. I've also learned that you can get clients without being pushy and salesy. That's one of the biggest fears that people have, that people share with me. They're like, I hate marketing and I hate sales. And, you know, they just feel uncomfortable with being salesy or pushy. So let me know if, you've ever said to yourself, like, I suck at marketing. I hate marketing. I don't want to be a creepy salesperson. I don't want people to feel like I'm pressuring them, bothering them, and the whole list that comes along with sales. And so this approach works with any type of service-based business. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a healer, if you're a speaker, if you're a guide. So I had to learn this the hard way, but you don't have to. And so when I say, like, it's true. Like, there was a lot of struggle and frustration and feeling like, I'm really smart. I really care about this. Why can't I figure it out? And so hopefully these secrets will be of service to you and save you time, which is what people do. Like, I was sharing with you that I'm a mom of a 4 and 6-year-old. And, sometimes they think they know, and just as an adult, right? And sometimes people just need to figure it out on their own. And I know I'm stubborn. There are many things that I have felt like I needed to figure out on my own. And, you can take a lot of time and figure it out on your own. And there are also shortcuts available to you if you so choose. And I would also say that I was someone who said that I'm not good at sales. I don't like sales. I don't want to pressure people. The list goes on. I'll be sharing more of my list with you shortly. So yes, the point is that you can drastically shorten your learning curve and save time, save money. That's what we do when we learn from people who are further along than us. So I'll share with you some things that can make getting clients hard. So one thing that I did was I resisted picking a specific niche, and I started off as a general life coach. And I enjoyed that. I felt like, I'm a life coach. If you have a life, I can help you. Because what I learned in coaching school was, like, coaching is getting someone from where they are to where they want to be. And so as long as you can identify the issue, the problem that the person is having, and you ask good questions, you can support them. So I really resisted, because I felt like, well, I could help this person with this. I could help that person with that. And so I see a lot of clients who, I use the word resist for a reason. Like, I know I resisted because, like, and there's ways that I still do it sometimes now, like, you just feel like, well, I don't want to narrow in. I don't want to narrow in. I don't want to leave this person out because I feel like I can help them. And the thing with that is that if you are too general, like, people don't get what you do. You have to really explain it to them, and people can't refer you business because they don't really get how you help people. So be mindful of, are you telling yourself that you feel like you've got this great modality that can help anybody? You want to think about the library, you want to think about the grocery store, you want to think about the bookstore. Anytime you enter any of those 3 places, you go to a specific section. You don't just say, I just want food. I don't care what kind of food, just bring me food. No, you want a burrito, you want pot stickers, you want a specific thing. You go to the science fiction section. And so when you get really clear on your niche, then you're letting people know where to find you in the bookstore. If you don't do that, then they don't know where to find you. So type 1 and let me know if that makes sense. So I wasted tons of time and money getting a website and other branding materials rather than learning how to get clients. And so I do have a website, I do have branding materials, but I can't tell you how much, like, again, I started maybe 12 years ago. So I've wasted so many business cards where that literally, I've upgraded and then you just recycle them, or I've created brochures, or I thought like you create the website, but then it's like you have to get people to the website. Like there's all like the most important thing to make clients is to actually do the work to get clients. So sometimes people get really distracted on all the other things they think they need. I didn't know how to make offers, so I just kind of stumbled through making offers, and that's the part that I would get really uncomfortable with. And I find that most people that come to me, they're actually already good or have some savviness in the work, their transformational work. They're a good coach. They can help people. The part that they struggle with is like, how do I market myself? How do I talk about what I do in a way that makes sense? What do I do in a call? And so I stumbled around just kind of winging it. I also spent endless amounts of time, which I see a lot, processing. And if you're here, you probably love the processing. Like there's a part of me that I love to journal, I love to process. And I feel like processing so much can also be a distraction where people are really just trying to figure out why they are the way that they are, what's making them this way, and that prevents them from taking action. So part of the growth that happens is through taking action. So let me know in the comments with a 1 if you would want a much simpler and easier way that doesn't require you to be salesy, that doesn't require you to have a killer website, even though, you know, we get to have what we want. And I know many of you probably want a killer website if you don't already have one, or a huge following. All right, so my clients have been able to book paying clients without a big list. Some of them don't have a following. Some of them aren't even on social media. And in some cases, not even a website, which is really amazing. So I'm going to share the 3 secrets with you. I'm just going to grab a sip of water. All right, so secret number 1 is that it's possible to make $1,000 to $5,000 or more, of course, by having one conversation with one person. Secret number 2 is that you don't have to wait to be anointed by someone else as an expert. You can start to position yourself as an expert in your area today. Isn't that amazing that we live in this time where you just have free reign, like all these free tools at your disposal? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm going to say Clubhouse, even though I'm not a Clubhouser yet, but you know, like there's so many free tools available where you can begin to position yourself and the work that you do. And secret number 3 is you don't have to have everything figured out. I know it makes sense in your mind rationally, but like this is a place, secret number 3 is where people get stuck a lot. You don't have to have everything figured out before you start getting paying clients. And I know, and we'll talk more about this, that we all learn differently and we have different archetypes. Like there are people, I'll admit that I am a leaper. And so I mean by that is that like I don't necessarily have to have it all figured out. And then I know other people, they feel more comfortable knowing how everything works before taking action. And so I'll say that my husband's that way. And I've shared before, like I tend to move based on like my intuition, and I feel like this is the right move. And I would say one's not necessarily better than the other. So one way that I appreciate him is that, you know, we were getting car seats for the kids and he was looking at the reviews, and I'm not a review person. Like I just go for what I like, but he was like, okay, we have to get the safest one. And I'm grateful for that. So this isn't to judge the way that you do things, but I want you to be mindful. Like if your goal is to get clients sooner rather than later, then you want to think about if your behavior is taking you closer to that or further away from that. So we'll dive into the different secrets now. So secret number 1, which we'll go into now, is that it's possible to make $1,000 to $5,000 by having one conversation with one person. And so one of the things that I recommend, especially if you're just starting out, is that you have a high ticket offer. And a high ticket offer or coaching package is one that starts at $1,000. I will say for some people, they're not quite ready there. And for other people, they are beyond that. but it's really just going to allow you to reach your income goal. Because think about it, if you're charging $50 and your goal is to make $1,000 a month, then you have to sell 200. So just kind of do the math. Do the math. Always do the math. Say, how much do I want to make? How much is my offer? How many of those do I need to sell to make my offer? Did I do that math right? 200. Anyway, I'll let you guys do it, but you get the point. The point is do the math. And so most people think they have to have a huge following to get paying clients. So think about that. So like if your package is at least $1,000, then, and your goal, let's say your goal is 5,000 a month. So you have 5 clients. So it's like, do you really need 1,000 followers to reach your goal? So sometimes it's like you really want to get into mathematical reality about what's needed. And so of course, it's more complicated than that. You also want to know how many people you need to talk to, what's your sales conversion, meaning that how many people you talk to, like how many of them will become clients. And once you begin to know that math, then you know how many people you should be talking to a week. Another thing is that most people are trying to get clients like outside of their inner circles. And yes, we do want to grow our audience and move beyond like our circle of influence, because at a certain point that circle might get old and stale and we constantly want to have fresh people coming in the door. But the truth is, like, the people most likely to buy from you are the people who already know, like, and trust you. And that doesn't mean they're like your best friend, but I can't tell you how many people say to me, they know me. So because they know me, they trusted me, right? And so like you already have people in your world, in your circle of influence, whether it's like at the church that you go to or your children's school or your work, who already see you and know you and like you and trust you already, right? So don't neglect the people that are already in front of you. Also, some people think they need to become famous online. And so they spend a lot of trying to get famous online when they forget, like, there's people who, but the thing is, this is what happens, is that sometimes it can feel scarier to be vulnerable in front of the people that you already know. Whereas with people that you don't know, maybe you don't care as much. And so oftentimes that's why people want to avoid the people in their backyard. So the people in your backyard are your personal Facebook page, your LinkedIn, your current network at your church. And sometimes you're judging and projecting like what you think those people are going to think. And so it feels safer to go out to people who don't already know you, and it feels less risky. It feels less risky. So type 1 in the comments if you can relate to that. So I want to share a story of the first time a client paid me $1,000. It was $997. I tend to use like 997 numbers that end in 7 or 5. And it was several years ago, and I was leading a small women's group with a few women. And I viewed the women in this circle that I was leading, and it was on a phone. It was a teleconference. I viewed them as my peers. They were my peers. You know, some of them I had been in a coaching program with. And just what I was sharing another slide ago was that it can feel scarier to be vulnerable with the people that are already in your network, whereas you might take it as a different hit if it's someone that's outside and they don't know you. And so I thought my clients were beyond my circle. I thought they were out there. And I never made an offer to the group for a consultation, even though I felt like, I'm like, I feel like I could help this person with this, but I thought they didn't see me that way. At the time, I didn't have a following or list. I was doing regular women's circles, and I had a sign-in sheet where I asked for their name and their email. And I think I only did that because when I went to events, I saw other people were doing that, but I didn't do anything with the list. So I didn't know that I was supposed to start an email list, but I did keep it in a manila folder, you know, for the future. And they are on my list now. But at the time, I didn't know about, you know, what's it called, MailChimp or any of that stuff. I didn't know. So I didn't have a following or a list. I didn't have my niche figured out. At the time, I was calling myself a life coach, and I still didn't know how to explain it then. And at the time, life coaching was still pretty new. So people would be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And so one of the women in the group, she knew I was a coach and she wanted to be a coach too. So she expressed an interest in working with me. I see that sentence is cut off. So I invited her into a consultation and I made her an offer. And she signed up. So, that's too easy. So let me just tell you, I did know that I was going to offer her this package. And so I was going through our consultation together, and that part was really easy. I was sitting down, we were having a great conversation. And then when we got to the sales part where I was going to tell her this is what it takes to work with me, I got really nervous. And so I started standing. I remember I was walking around the house as I was making my offer. And she still said yes. So even though I was nervous, even though I thought, is she going to think $1,000 is too much? All of those thoughts were going in the background. She said yes. So she paid me $1,000 in full. That was really exciting for me at the time because that was my first coaching package for $1,000. And so even though I was thinking these women are my peers, they'll never want to work with me. Even though I was thinking my clients are far away, they're people I don't know yet. Even though I was thinking I'm not ready to offer a consultation to a group of women. And so I will say, I actually have had people say that they feel like when they make an offer, it's like ruining the energy, or like, let's say it's a woman's circle. So this person who said this, she was saying, because she was leading a woman's circle, she just felt like they had such a great time. Now she's making them an offer. And so a lot of people feel that introducing an opportunity to work with them more deeply is somehow diminishing the experience. I also thought my list is too small. I don't have a perfect niche yet, so I can't get a client right now. It's just not the right time. It's just not the right time. Yet, even though I had all those thoughts, someone still paid me $997. I share that to say that it does not have to be perfect, that nothing that you do in your business has to be perfect. And you can still take imperfect action and still get clients. And so know that you can still take imperfect action. Know that you can feel like I'm not really great at sales, and it's something that you can practice and get better at. So as you can imagine, that was a breakthrough for me to have someone pay me in full, my first coaching package. And it's been a breakthrough each time that I've increased my rates. So whether that, I went from 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 and beyond. So like each time that you do that you up your price, you step outside of your comfort zone, your ceiling moves up a little bit. So type 1 in the comments if you're still with me. So secret number 2 is that you don't have to wait to be anointed by someone else as an expert. You can start to position yourself as an expert in your area today. I don't know about you, but I felt like I was doing a lot of waiting. And a lot of waiting, I actually wanted someone that I respected and admired to say, Khadija, you have what it takes. I see you. I think you'd be a great teacher. I think you'd be a great guide. So type 1 in the comments if you feel like there's a part of you that really wants to be validated by someone that you respect and admire to feel like you can take the next step. I need a little chapstick, you guys. And the beauty is that you get to do this. Like you get to decide that you're going to own what it is that you do, what it is that you bring to the table, and that you're going to share it with others. That being said, it doesn't mean that you don't need support, and that support isn't valuable and necessary. And I think that that's different than feeling like you require validation in order to show up and share. So I find that a lot of people are waiting, just like I said, for external validation or permission to give them the go ahead. And so sometimes this can even happen with other teachers or coaches that you feel like you're following. So sometimes you can feel like you can't move because maybe there's this relationship of authority and they're ahead of you. Like I know at one point I was working with a coach and I wasn't a business coach yet, And I was afraid to own that I wanted to be a business coach because she was a business coach. But I became a business coach because I was leading all these circles and women started asking me for help with clients. And it just happened organically. It happened naturally. I would have never expected to be a business coach. But I remember thinking when the inkling started coming in, almost like I felt like I needed her permission or for her to say that, yes, Khadija, you can be a business coach too. And it's like, we're all adults. We get to give ourselves permission to say what we want. And it's okay to want the same thing as someone else. You know, you're not going to do it the same way because you have your own blueprint and fingerprint. And so I find that most people are leaving money on the table by waiting. So waiting to publish a book. I've had clients who've published books and it hasn't made them any richer or get clients. And I'm not saying don't publish a book. I want to publish a book. I feel like I have books inside of me. I see people waiting to create their course first. They're going to create their course, then they're going to get clients. They're going to give an amazing TED talk or a talk or be featured in some kind of publication or add certain certifications, then they're going to get paying clients. And so sometimes those things do lead to paying clients. Oftentimes I have seen that they don't necessarily. And what happens if these are all things that you want to do, when you start working with clients one-on-one, it's like you're building your book because you have so many stories. All of that wisdom is going into creating whatever work it is that you want to create, whether that's supposed to go into a course or to a book. So by working with my one-on-one clients, they started saying, you know, how do I get clients? And that's how I created my Client Creation Queen program, because that's what clients were asking me for. And so I think that you'll find that your clients you and your work with clients are going to teach you so much about what your next steps are and help you develop and continue to create your body of work. I see that a lot of people compare themselves to their favorite gurus or others, and it stops them from creating their own platform. I know I did this, and I have to be really mindful of, you know, if you're following people and they don't make you feel like you can do it yourself, you might want to consider stop following them. I mean, I would say don't follow them because that's not helpful. You know, you should, I recommend following people that remind you of your own wholeness, resourcefulness, your own talent, that you can do this too. And so I don't think all comparison is negative. Some comparison is positive. You know, sometimes you see someone, you're like, hey, I've been thinking about doing something like that, and they're doing it. So that means that there's an audience, there's a market for it. And if she can do it or he can do it, I can do it too. This was a client, Tree, who I love to say she went from couch to coach in 90 days. She's an amazing woman. Before we started working together, she was sleeping on a friend's couch. Literally, I'm not making that up. She was sleeping on a friend's couch. She wasn't working. She didn't have a website. She had no big following, no niche. And she just had a dream of being a relationship coach, but she didn't know if people would pay her. I will say that she did have a community. So like she would be hosting these events, but she didn't know how to get clients from these events. And so she had no formal coaching training or certifications, but she did have a lot of personal development work, lots of workshops, personal development and trainings, but no form, like she didn't go through a coaching program to get certified or anything like that. And she didn't know how to coach. Yes, coaching is a skill. And that was something that she learned. And so she really wanted to work with me, but she just didn't have the money. And you might be thinking like, that is like, why would you offer coaching to someone that's living on their couch? But she was really at a place where she felt fed up and she was done. And she was just like, I really want to try to make this work. And so she found the money and we started working together immediately. And within 90 days, she got 7 new clients. I love sharing her story because I think she amazed herself. It was all in her. She really cares about the people that she works with. And like, I think she was really wanting to help engineers, like shy introverts, get comfortable with dating and relationships. And it was really in her heart to do that. So Tree doubled her investment back and she put a deposit down to move into her new place. And so that was a thing that was really important to her, is that she really wanted to find um, her home, her new residence, a new place to live. So secret number 3 is you don't have to have everything figured out before you start getting paying clients. I know I've said this, but I'm going to say it again. And I still say it, and people are like, still, we're human. Sometimes you just want things to look a certain way. I will admit to, I care about how things look, and I look at my emails a lot, and sometimes still I send out an email and I get typos. So type 1 if you can relate to any of this, that you just feel like, I feel like when it's your job, when it's your work as a coach, you take it more personal than you would if you had a job. And so you feel like if someone doesn't like it or they quote unquote reject it, you think that they're rejecting you. And it's absolutely not true. So some people think they need to be crystal clear. Once I get clear, that's a big thing. Once I get clear, whether it's clear on your niche or clear on what your next step is, then you'll be able to get paying clients. And so I've seen people like they're still trying to get clear. A month has gone by, several months have gone by, still trying to get clear. And it keeps people stuck. But you really think that you're trying to get clear. I've done this myself. So when I'm laughing, I'm not like poking fun. Like I know this so intimately because I've done that. And it can be really convincing to yourself to think that you're actually getting clear. But if you're not making any forward momentum, like true forward momentum, then you're actually not getting clear. Some people think they need to understand, once I figure out how Facebook works, once I understand, the marketing, like I'll tell on myself. I'll give you an example. When I was in a program and the woman said not to get stuck on technology. And I was supposed to say I was not going to get stuck on technology. And I went ahead and allowed myself to get stuck on technology. And it really slowed me down. And so I'm not saying this as like pointing the finger just at you, but I have done these things of thinking that you need something more complicated than you do, when I want to remind you that coaching is a relationship between you and one other person. You and one other person. And so all of those other things are tools to spread your message further so you can continue to have that relationship with you and one other person. So complex marketing, landing pages, Facebook ads, and thinking that you need to have all tech before you get paying clients is absolutely not true. And I'll say that I have those things, but I didn't have those things before and I got clients. So again, you want to know how to get clients and have all these other things here, magnify what you're doing. Most people get caught in perfectionism and spend too much time perfecting their website, their course, their IG photos. Like I'm taking all this time on my course, and once I do it, then I'll be able to get clients. I've got to get my brand just right and all of that. Like I get it, like you feel like you're representing yourself and you want it to be. I'm not saying sacrifice your excellence, right? But then there has to be a place where you say good enough is good enough. And I find that we reach perfection by perfecting over time. Like it gets better over time. You become a better content writer, you become more comfortable doing videos, webinars, sharing content, but it's the person who doesn't start, like you can't perfect because you just haven't even exposed it. And so part of what you're creating is you putting something out there and then getting feedback from your audience. So this was my client, Melanie. Before we started working together, Melanie, she was looking for a job with a law firm. And she had some part-time work, but it wasn't consistent enough. And she mentioned to me that she really wanted to start her own practice because she had had a practice previously, but in her mind, she thought it was going to take a lot of money, like a lot. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it unless I have this amount of money. And so I helped her build her business around solving one particular problem for a particular group of people. And it was really interesting to see because sometimes we have these thoughts that we don't inquire into and they feel really true. So like in this case, it was that it's going to cost a lot of money for me to start my practice. And it may have in the past, but we were in a different time at the time, when she started her business earlier, there wasn't social media. And so sometimes you're relating to a thought that you're having as though it's the truth when it's actually not. And it's like, if that can be pinpointed, then you can move past it. And so she took immediate action and started getting paying clients quickly. And she hasn't stopped since. She's a sexual harassment lawyer, which is what, we in our conversation, she was feeling really drawn to. And so together, we just decided like, hey, why don't you just put your stake in the sand for this? And she did. And she started getting clients quickly. So at the time, she thought she was going to need the month to amass a certain amount of money, which was a lot of money. And maybe like 8 months down the line, then she could just begin starting. And she actually didn't do the things that she thought she needed, and she was able to get clients. So my question for you is to imagine what it would be like to sign up a client for $1,000, for $2,000, for $5,000 in one conversation. And so, for you, it might be a little higher than this. For you, it might be a little lower. But what would it do for you to sign up the client at the price you feel like you would really love to offer your services at? What might it be like to have people who are excited? They're excited. They want to learn from you. Um, they're thankful to pay you. Like, have you had that experience where you've paid someone and you said thank you to them? You're thanking them, you're paying them, but you're thanking them because you're excited about what you are receiving. Imagine getting results like my client Melanie and Tree, and to start getting paying clients and turn things around quickly. And so I like saying turn things around quickly because sometimes just like, again, in your mind, and I think that we all do this in different areas of our lives, right? Where you think that something's going to take a really long time. And so just having the thought that it's going to take a really long time has you postpone it into the future and not taking action now because it's like, it's going to take a year. It's going to take 2 years, maybe in 6 months. And what if you could have what you want 30 days from now, 60 days from now? We're just, the first quarter of the year. What if you could have it now? What would it feel like for you to feel like you're living your soul's calling and getting paid for it? And I just will say for me, I became a coach in 2007. So that's going on 13 years. And I was really like, I just didn't know, like my program taught me how to become a good coach. It taught me the skills to become a good coach, but it didn't teach me how to get clients. And so I really struggled with that. And for so long, like I felt like I wanted to start and grow my coaching practice and I just didn't know how to do it. And it got to a point where it felt like it was painful. And I started doing all these other things. I had jobs and I didn't feel like I was really utilizing my skills and gifts. And it just became painful. It's like it's draining, physically draining, emotionally draining to do something that you don't want to be doing on a daily basis, being in an environment that doesn't inspire you and feeling like inside, that you're meant for more and you want more. And so type 1, if you can relate to that, like it was not fun. And when I became a mom, well, 6 years ago, but I guess it was 7 years ago then, like I was just like, I want to do what I want to do and feel like I'm sharing my gifts that are meant to be shared and not feeling like 8 hours a day hating where I am and feeling like this place is not cute. I don't want to be here. So imagine what it'd be like to be making a difference in the lives of your clients. Yes, your clients, like really helping them get the things they want in their lives. So maybe they want a relationship, I know there was a time when that was like a big thing, like in my mid 30s, I was like, am I ever going to have children? Am I ever going to find my one? Right. And so like being in that spot of feeling like, are you ever going to find someone? What if someone wants a new career and like they're just feeling like, I dread going to work. I feel like I'm not going to get a raise. I don't feel like I'm valued for what I bring to the team. And it's just like, it's drudgery going to work every day. And you are a career coach and really can help them find the work that they love doing and to be properly compensated or to up level in the position that they're at. Or maybe someone's like not feeling good about their body and they've gained weight and, you know, they're saying the pandemic 20 and they're just like, I need to release it. And so imagine helping your clients take that jump. So I've got a question for you. I'm wondering if this past hour you have found useful. Would you agree that it has been time well spent? Type a 1 in the comments and let me know if you've been enjoying this hour together. And as you can imagine, I can't cover every single thing you need to know about getting clients in an hour webinar. What would you think about working with me directly where I could help you implement what we just talked about? Actually implement positioning yourself as an expert. Actually position yourself, focus on money-making activities. Actually position yourself to be in front of your ideal audience of people who want to work with you. So if you'd like to know more, I'm going to share that with you now. And if not, I hope you've gotten value on what I've covered so far and that you feel, you know, really ready to just own your expertise and know that there are clients out there waiting for you. So if you do want to see how to work with me, here's how I'm going to share with them. So I'd love to share with you my Client Creation Queen program. It's an 8-week group program. And I was sharing earlier that I became a business coach because clients were asking me, or potential clients, people that were coming to my women's circles, how do I get clients? And so that became the biggest problem of the clients I was seeing at the time. And so I then became a business coach. And then through doing my one-on-one coaching, I also felt like, wow, I feel like my clients should meet each other. And I've always been in women's circles and know the power of being in a group. Like there's a different energy that you feel swept by and feel inspired by. So I want to tell you what's inside of the Client Creation Queen program. So inside the program, there's a core training curriculum that includes almost 30 videos, exercises, questions, and each module, there are 8 modules, has a workbook or playbook to help you really integrate the teachings of the lessons. And you're essentially creating your business plan and really getting clarity, because that's what most people say, on what are your next steps. And so included, we cover how to nail your profitable niche. So who do you help? What do you help them with? And it's not just what you want to help people with, but are people actually wanting that in the marketplace? So it's definitely this fine dance of what it is you love to do and what's profitable and what people are paying for. We cover pricing and packaging. Is it time to increase your prices? Maybe you're doing single sessions and you want to create a package now. Maybe you want to increase your offer, and what should be included in a high ticket offer. We cover all of that. We go over how to build and monetize your community. And so I share multiple ways for you to grow your community, whether that's online or offline. I kind of recommend having both because it's kind of a feedback loop that what you do offline can be shared online, and people tend to look at you on social media when they meet you and find out more about you. And so how can you begin to build your audience, whether it's on social media, whether it's you're growing your email list. There are lots of ways to grow your community, but it's really important so that you always feel that you have people to show up on a webinar, people to share your offerings with, and some of those people are going to want to work more deeply with you. We cover how to convert consultations into paying clients. And so how do you actually get discovery calls, clarity calls, consultations on your calendar? And what do you actually do? What do you actually say to walk a potential client through the process of becoming your paying client? Mindset is a core pillar here because how you feel, what you think impacts how you feel, and how you feel impacts the actions you take, and the actions you take impact the results that you get. So it's critical that you're doing continuous, regular nurturing of your mindset so that you remember who you are, what it is that you have to give, and can show up powerfully and be of service. Because what happens is it's easy to get stuck in your head and wonder what other people are thinking. And when you're disconnected from your heart and the passion of what you have to share, then it's really easy to downward spiral and feel like, well, I posted yesterday, no one liked or commented, so I'm not going to post today. And that is not going to help in getting paying clients. We cover sales, like how to sell with heart and leadership so that the people that are coming to you, they're not just dollar signs, like you're really looking at whether it's a fit and you're coaching them through making the right decision for themselves. And you're always leaving people better off than you found them, whether they choose to work with you or not. So how to show up with your coaching skills, your deep listening skills, and bring that into your sales conversations. And you also want to coach your clients to success. You want to help them get the result. How do you help them get the best results? And how to get quality testimonials that contribute to your marketing and your social proof. So all of that is a part of the core training curriculum. And the last one is creating your inspired business plan. And I love to work in 3-month quarterly increments so that you feel like you're really clear about what your marketing goals are, what your visibility goals are for the quarter, and you kind of have that North Star and anchor guiding you for the 3 months. So the second component, so the first one we talked about was the training modules. The second one is the live weekly group training coaching. And so we have weekly calls, and on those weekly calls, you can bring your questions and I answer all of your questions. There's a lot of material that you're watching and listening to and reading through, and you just have, there's so many questions that come up when you're growing your coaching business. We have hot seat coaching, so you can come off mute and you can get some personal coaching time with me to get support, move through any blocks, whether it's around sales or mindset or marketing or copy, you can get support in these group calls. And in these calls, I'll also be covering some aspect of my Client Creation Queen framework. And the Client Creation Queen framework is mindset, it's manifestation, it's marketing, and monetization. And so each of the calls will cover one aspect of the Client Creation Queen framework. And it's also a way to connect with the other people in the group. So one of the best things about participating for me that I've had participating in programs is the alliances. Like some of my close friends, the people I spend the most time with now in my life, are people that I've met in programs. And so there are people that have been on my interview series. There are people who have invited me to be on their interview series. Sometimes people have become my clients. Sometimes I become their clients. And so being a part of a community, not only to learn the skills that you need, but also to get the alliances and support is incredibly powerful. Just gonna grab a sip of water. So it's really something to think about when you're thinking about programs. It's the content, but it's also the connection is a very important piece. And then the third thing is our private Facebook group. It's the Client Creation Queen private Facebook group, and that's where you can connect with and collaborate with the other queens in the Client Creation Queen program. So in between our weekly calls, you can share your sales page, you can share your events, and just being inspired by what other people are doing and seeing other people take action has an impact on you. It's a place to get feedback on what you're working on. So maybe that's your content creation. Maybe you need support. Hey, can you like or comment on this video? And so you'll get support from me, from my team, as well as the community. It's also a place to set your weekly goals so you stay on track. Goals are so important. And growing up, like I feel like I'm a Pisces. I don't want to blame it on being a Pisces, but I identify as a creative spirit. And I was not that person that had a 5-year plan. And now I love goals. I love creating goals. I love thinking about what I'm doing every week and being around other people that are goal oriented. It's like you become a goals person. And so this is a place to set your weekly goal and have some accountability and to help you stay on track. It's also a place to celebrate your wins. Sometimes the people in your life, if they're not entrepreneurs and if they're not on this journey, they might not get a landing page. They might not get all that it took for you to put out your website. They might not get you doing your first Facebook Live or you starting a Facebook group. And so to have fellow entrepreneurs who understand the journey and to celebrate your wins with is amazing. It's so amazing. And it's also a place to stay inspired and feel supported because the entrepreneurial journey isn't all up, 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 right? Like sometimes you feel down. Sometimes you might feel like you want to give up. Sometimes you might feel like, is this working? Does anyone care about what I'm doing? Should I stop? Am I cut out for this? And to be around other people who know that that's a part of it is essential. And finally, it's just a place to get your questions answered. You have questions about getting clients, and this would be the place to ask questions in between the group calls. Included in the Client Creation Queen program is bonus number 1, which is the Manifest Clients Now 2-hour recorded workshop where we go in depth into the client creation framework. So we go over mindset, we go over manifesting, which is fun. We go over marketing. That's one that people say, I hate marketing. I'm not good at marketing, and how to have marketing be easeful for you and how to communicate what you do in a way that speaks your client's language. And then we also cover monetization. So how do you monetize your expertise? How do you actually get someone from here to liking you, watching you, commenting, to becoming a paying client? Also included in the program is bonus number 2, which is called Expand Your Capacity to Receive as a Woman. And learning how to receive is a huge part of this journey. So being able to receive money, being able to receive help, being able to receive support, being able to receive attention, so that's a big thing. Being able to receive attention was the last one I said. So just even being on social media, being visible with your face or your voice. And the more that you can expand your capacity, the more that you can bring in more income, grow your audience, because we can only take in as much as we're able to receive. So part of it is being able to increase your container. So a quick review of what's included in the program is the core training curriculum that I mentioned, which is the 30 videos, workbooks, and exercises, the weekly group training calls, and the Client Creation Queen private Facebook group, along with the 2 bonuses I mentioned. So type 1 in the comments if you feel like this is something that would support you in growing your business. So if you do feel like it's something that would be supportive and help you, take the next steps in growing your coaching business, I would love to invite you to schedule a call with me or a member of my team. And we're going to see if the Client Creation Queen program is a fit for you. Are you a fit for us? And if this is a great next step for you. So this is a no pressure call, so you don't have to worry. We're honestly going to help you look at your goals and see if this is a good fit for you. And so the link is manifestclientsnow.com/call. And you can also find the link in the comments. And so once you click on the link, it's going to actually take you to this page, and you're just going to select your time zone and find a time that works for you. We start Tuesdays. So schedule a call and see if you want to get started this Tuesday. And so who has this worked for? The Client Creation Queen program and this framework. This has worked for relationship coaches, for energy healers, for lawyers, for doulas, for yoga teachers, for herbalists, photographers, investment bankers, health coaches, corporate executives, and so many more. It's so interesting for here to hear myself say all of these things, because I would have never thought that, hey, I'm going to work with a lawyer or, corporate executives. But that's the beauty of when you start putting yourself out there and sharing who you are, your ideal, right, meant to work with you clients appear. So you can schedule a call to find out more about the program and to see if it's a good fit for you by going to manifestclientsnow.com/call. And so, believe it or not, I believe that we have a lot in common. I can be intimidated by technology. Not everyone's intimidated by technology, but I talk to a lot of people who are. And so technology is such a wide thing. So it could be from doing webinars, it could be from just using Zoom. And I don't consider myself a tech person, and I've overcome a lot of technology fears. Like, I feel like I'm someone that as soon as something doesn't work, oh, I can't advance my slide, that, the anxiety can start to set in. I sometimes feel uncomfortable putting myself out there. Yes, even now, right? So like anytime I'm doing something new, it definitely feels like it stretches myself and I get butterflies, but I've learned to embrace that. Where there was a time I would feel like, why did I sign up for this? There must be something wrong if I'm feeling nervous about this. And now I know that it's just a part of it, and more energy is required of you. That's why you're feeling all of those sensations. But I've learned to embrace that that's just a part of it when you speak or show up, that you can feel those nerves. I too, it's not my intention. I'm not thinking to myself, how can I be salesy and pushy today? And I often say that the people who worry the most about being salesy and pushy are usually the people who are not salesy and pushy and who actually could afford to lean into and allow themselves to be a little bit salesy and a little bit pushy. And so what I mean by that is to share more about what they're doing. That's what I mean by salesy, sharing what you do more frequently. And pushy, I think people who worry about this could stand to be a little bit more assertive and direct about their offering. It's very ironic that the people who worry about it actually half the time they're not even making any calls to actions or very many calls to action or telling anyone that they can buy something. Like, the fear is so great that they're on the far end of that spectrum. I tend to be a more private person. I came on social media specifically to make more contacts for business. I was in another business at the time, and I think I went on for like a month or two, and then I got back off. And I've shared in the past that my very first Facebook profile pic was a picture of my back. So, and I thought it was all mysterious, and it was a dark picture too. So all you could see was like the back and kind of like the silhouette of my back. And so I was one of those people who were like, I don't know who those strange people are online. And then I realized it's the same strange people offline. So being on social media doesn't mean that you have to share more than is comfortable for you. It doesn't mean that you have to use it as your journal. And you also have the option to be as free and share as much as you want. There's so many different styles to this. I see people who I don't know anything about their personal life, and all they share is their expertise in their topic, and I'm drawn to them. And I see people who share everything, and you're drawn to them. So there isn't one way to share who you are on social media. I started out with 3 to 5 women in my living room, and I was scared to do that. 3 to 5 women leading a women's group, 3 to 5 women. I didn't have a niche figured out for years. And despite all of this, I've been able to get paying clients, and so can you. So if you're interested in scheduling a call to see if the Client Creation Queen group program is a fit for you, you can go to manifestclientsnow.com/call. So this is a client, Jesselyn. She was an independent doula who was breaking out on her own when we started. And so sometimes I see this, like, maybe you've done a really great job at your job and you feel like, wow, I feel like I have some skills and I want to bring it out into the world, but there's a safety at your job, or you've been working with someone else or under someone else, but then you want to be independent. Sometimes I see this and it's just like, oh, am I going to get my own clients, or do I need this other group to get clients? And so she questioned if she'd be able to get her own clients and charge a premium, and thought she needed a new website. So she actually already had a website, but she thought, like, if I improve my website, maybe that will be the thing. And so instead of her changing her website, we focused on her positioning herself as an expert in her field and making a solid offer. So she started hosting webinars for the first time and making an offer with calls to actions. And so one of her successes is that she booked $5,800 in client sales within 45-day period, which was really amazing. It was really fun to get that email from her. So if you're wondering, like, well, how is this program different than any other programs? I'm a program person, and I feel like there are a lot of great programs out there. Like, I'm not someone that's going to be like, I've been in amazing programs. I will say that the size of this group, the intimate size of this group, is a plus. I know I've been in programs that are really large, and that doesn't mean that the content of the program isn't excellent, but especially if it's hard for you already to be visible and you're in a really big group program, it's easy to get lost. And I've heard people share that with me as well, of like, there's so many people, and so you're not going to have that experience in this program. You're going to get personal, high touch, and direct access to me. I'm in the Facebook group. I'm the one leading the calls on Tuesdays. So I would definitely say that that is a highlight and a plus of this program. So again, the link to schedule a call to make sure and see if this is a good fit for you, you can do that in the link in the comments. And so I want to share with you a tale of two women. So we've got Debbie Dabbler on the left. And so Debbie Dabbler, she's like, I've been meaning to do this thing. I've had this great business idea. And like, she's still talking about it months on end. Maybe she takes a program and she only incorporates some of the principles, and then she starts another program and just only incorporates a few principles, and it's just like, hey, she's not getting any traction. And she's like, her mindset is like, I'm not cut out for this. I'm not good enough. This doesn't really work. Is this whole coaching thing a scam? I knew it was a scam, right? And then on the right side, we have Danielle Dewar. So she has a lot of the same fears as Debbie Dabbler. She's still like, well, is this going to work? Do I have what it takes? But she's willing to take imperfect action. And so she takes imperfect action and she gets that small success. And then she's like, oh my God, I hosted an event and people actually came and they thought it was so great. And so she feels the success of that thing. And then that encourages her to take the next step. So I will let you know that I have been Debbie Dabbler. I have been, into shiny object syndrome. Like, I want to try this thing, I want to try that thing, and not really getting the traction. And then I've also am Danielle Dewar now. Like, I take action, I take imperfect action. I saw some mistakes on my slides here. It's okay. You guys can still get the value that I'm offering, even though I had typos in my slides. And so, who do you want to show up as? How does a queen show up? She shows up as being willing to learn. So on the left, Debbie's like all of these thoughts of like, who am I? Am I good enough? Is it right to charge? And Danielle is willing to be like, there are people out there who are looking for my services. There are people out there who want what I have. What I don't know, I can learn. And it's a mutually beneficial exchange. So those are the tales of two women, and who do you choose to model moving forward as you get clients? And so I'd love to open up the floor for questions. And again, the link in the comments is manifestclientsnow.com/call. Okay. So I'm going to start answering some questions. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Give me a second here. I'm just changing the view to gallery view. Okay. So, Oceana, hi, Oceana. So nice to see you. Do you have a certain number of consults on average to sign on a certain number of clients, or do you process the weeds out your client ahead of time? I'm not sure if I understand the second part, but the way to answer the first part is you want to think about, like, I shouldn't even say think about, you really literally want to write down how many consultations you have. Like, so if you look at your last 10 consultations that you had, how many people actually signed up? And so the number of people that actually signed up, so you divide that by the number of consults you had, and that's going to give you your conversion. So let's say let's just say out of every 10 people, you speak to 5. I mean, you sign up 5 people, that means you have a 50% conversion. So that lets you know that you need to speak to, for every 10 people you sign up, you're going to enroll 5 people. So that lets you know that you need to talk to 10 people to get 5 clients. So if your goal is to get 5 clients this month, then you know you need to talk to 10 people. So you kind of want to reverse engineer it. Some of you might not have that data depending on if you're new or not, but if you've already been seeing clients, you want to think about how many people you've spoken with to get clients, and then that will be your conversion. So let me know in the chat if that makes sense. And so the big thing that we do in the program is how to book more consultations, you know, like what things that you uniquely can do. Like all of you are interested in different things. And so I won't necessarily say the same thing to each person. In the program, we go over many ways to get calls booked on your calendar, because if you don't actually have calls booked on your calendar, then you don't have consultations, and consultations are how we get clients. Let me see here. You're welcome. Let's see. I've got a whole bunch of questions here. So I think it's Angela says, what do I do when someone says no to my offer? Awesome. Thank you for this question. So not everyone is going to say yes to your offer. So you always want to do, like, you want to go back and look at all of your consultations and think about like what worked, what didn't work. So you can always ask them, you know, what made them say no, or like why do they feel like it's not a good fit? Like you can directly ask your clients, like, why didn't you, you know, what will you do instead? And so just know first that not everyone's going to say yes to your offer. But you want to make sure, like, part of what you're doing in a consultation is listening for what the client wants. And so sometimes they're saying no because they're not sure that it's going to help them. It doesn't sound like exactly what they need. So one of the things we do in the program is teaching you how to speak your client's language so that you're not just sharing what it is you think they need. So it's kind of like, I'll say, if you're selling coffee, I used this example recently, and someone doesn't drink coffee, and you're like, oh, you should have this coffee. It's so good, especially if you add creamer in it and you put a little honey. And sometimes I like to add cinnamon. You're really going to love it. But if the person doesn't drink coffee, then no amount of you trying to convince them is going to be a good fit. So you want to make sure that you're talking to people who like coffee. And so if you're talking to people who like coffee and you sell coffee, and your offer is in alignment with them, a percentage of them are going to say yes. And just because someone says no now doesn't mean that they're going to say, they might, sometimes they need to know you more and to build that trust in order to take that next step with you. Kelly, what if I don't have a niche? You don't have to have a niche yet. One of the things that we do in the program is get clear on what your niche could be based on what we do in the workbooks, like helping you uncover and unravel what you have done. What's your past professional experience? What's your past personal experience? And we look at the different popular profitable niches. So it's going to help streamline the process for you. Like, what are the most popular niches and where can you fit your skills and expertise inside of that? And how can you come up with a clear niche that people understand and are looking for? Is this program for people starting out or further along? So this program is for people, so if you've never had a client, this program is going to teach you how to create your offer, how to monetize your expertise, and what to do to get paying clients. And if you're someone who has had clients, but maybe it's inconsistent, we're going to help dial in your messaging, dial in your marketing strategies so that you can get more clients. I don't know how much to charge or if I'm charging enough. Yeah, so a good baseline is, I teach high ticket sales, which means that you have a high ticket offer for a minimum of $1,000. Sometimes I have clients who aren't quite ready to charge $1,000, which is okay, because your prices are going to increase. Once you get that first, $500, $700, $1,000, then and you feel like you've gotten that proof that people were going to pay and they're getting value and getting results and write you a great testimonial, you're going to feel confident to increase your price. So I recommend starting with $1,000. Some of you might be beyond that price and charge a lot more. You definitely, one of the things we cover in the program is what should go into your high ticket offer. So it's not like you're just offering anything and then putting a price tag of $3,000 on it. Like you want the value that you're offering to make sense to your potential client. And then the last question I see is, how do I get more leads? Yeah, so in our program, we cover the 9-step client creation framework, which is really a process to not only get leads, but to invite the potential leads into a consultation and how to have the sales conversation. But for the sake of this conversation, the things that you want to think about is like, how are you being visible right now? Like, what are you doing in terms of, so like right now I'm offering this webinar. Are you hosting any events? Are you positioning yourself as an expert with your content? You want to have calls to action, and a call to action is the next step that someone would take with you. So maybe it's to join your Facebook group, maybe it's to sign up for your opt-in. And so we definitely go into that in further detail in the program. And so let me just check here if I didn't miss anything. Grace, you're welcome. Oceana, you're welcome. I think Marie popped off, but you're welcome. Okay, I think that's it. Awesome. So I think I got all of the questions. It's been so amazing spending time with you today. Thank you for hanging on to the end. And you will be getting your ultimate guide to client creation. And if you'd like to explore if the Client Creation Queen program is the perfect next fit for you, I would love to, or a member of my team, to explore that with you in a no pressure conversation. And you can do that in the link in the comments. And you can also get your client creation workbook for staying to the end. So if you click on that link in the comments, you'll have access to the workbook. I also want to let you know that if you're not already in my Facebook group, you can join us in the Facebook group at Women Coaches in Bloom. Again, that's Women Coaches in Bloom, and feel free to reach out to us at support@bloomintoyou.com if you have any questions. And thanks for joining me today. I look forward to connecting with some of you on the phone. All right, bye now.